Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Welcome back to Great Shot Kid, the podcast on the Nerd Party Network that has to do with the technical, inspirational, and aspirational sides of filmmaking. I'm John.
And I'm Mike.
And this week, we have a special treat for you. We are back. We are bad. We are talking about Get Out. Before we get into that, of course, we're on thenerdparty.com. You can reach out to us at thenerdparty.com/contact. You can reach out to the network over on Twitter at Join Nerd Party. On Instagram, it's The Nerd Party. On Facebook, it's The Nerd Party. Use the hashtag GreatShotKid to reach out to us. Let us know you're thinking and talking about us. And we will gladly interact with you. So, with all of that said, Get Out. I finally saw it. I finally got around to seeing Get Out. I'm the guy that took this long to see it. I'm ashamed of it. I wanted to see it. You had recommended it to me because you know I'm a horror fan and all of that type of stuff. Because we're not going to be talking about like a review of the movie, I'll get it out of the way. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was great. I'm thrilled that it's nominated for Best Picture. And yeah, I think that the lead actor was good enough to warrant a nomination because I imagine the movie without him in it, and he is a performance like subtracting Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood. It's still a good movie. It's still well done. It's still well written, but it's not the same without him. And for me, that's the definition of somebody who deserves a nomination for an award. If you can imagine this movie is not as good without them, they've done something very, very special. And I thought it was tightly written, everything. All of the praise that you've heard about, I thought that it lived all up to the hype, which is rare enough, a happenstance in film. But all of that said, I have been dying to talk about it with you, Mike, because there are a couple of things about it that were odd insights that I had that I just wanted to bounce off of you, okay? For anybody that hasn't seen it, this is full spoiler show. We're not going to dance around it or anything like that. And I'm going to go straight for the ending. Because for me, the ending that is there in the theatrical cut is what makes it a horror movie. Whereas the original ending, have you seen the alternate ending?
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it.
Well, now I'm going to spoil it for you, even to ask
That's
the question.
Fine.
Okay. Well, let's just say that the alternate ending... when you were watching it in the theater and you saw the cop lights start flashing in the background, what did you think was going to happen to him?
I thought the cops were going to arrest him for murder.
That's what happened in the original ending.
Mm-hmm.
They arrested him and he went to prison, and the final scene was him in prison after a number of months talking with his friend, the guy who was trying to get the cops to go find him, and basically saying, yeah, I don't belong in here. I didn't do the crime, but I'm okay. And he's at peace with himself because he didn't leave when he hit the woman, right? That's his big crucible moment when he's leaving, is he hits the woman just like his mom was hit and dies on the side of the road. And instead he goes back and he says, I overcame it. I changed it. And so spiritually he's free even though his body is in prison. Well, they decide to change that. And instead they have the ending, which I maintain, that's a horror movie ending. That's an ending I expect to see in Friday the 13th or Scream or Halloween or what have you. But that original ending, I don't think is a horror movie with it. I think it's strictly a social drama, like to an extent.
I don't know, because to me, like, seeing the cop car come is one of the scariest things in the entire movie.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, I think it definitely still qualifies as horror, even if that's... I mean, if anything, it's more horror with that ending because it's bleaker, It's he doesn't get out, right?
No, that's
so
true. That's true.
I mean,
that's a good point.
It really is like a downer, but yeah, I mean, I thought that was absolutely terrifying, which... is one of the things, and they still have that moment in there, which I think is, because you can say like, oh, well, that's offering up, all sorts of, like social commentary, like you're saying, by having this ending where like he goes through all this stuff and then he's the one who ends up in prison, but you still get that because as soon as you see those lights, you think that's what's going to happen.
That's a good point.
The in those, split seconds before you realize that it's his friend, the audience fills in that entire alternate ending, plays it out for themselves, and you don't need to see it on screen because you do get that. And then you get the more cathartic real ending where he's saved. And that I think is brilliant too, because for one thing, he gets a happy ending, as happy as it can be in this situation, but also it's hilarious. That's like the funniest thing in the entire movie. So.
That's true. See, and that's the thing that I really have to give credit for is knowing the comedy background. That the director comes from is that character, his friend, is so slyly written, is so pitch perfectly written. I mean, the script for this is stellar, and the performances just make it that much better. But the backbone of this thing is unbelievable how well constructed it is and how perfectly paced and spaced the humor is in it to diffuse things. But with that ending, I think you've persuaded me, because that is the scariest moment, because you thought arrested. I thought he was about to get shot. I was like, this sucks. Like I considered it a lock. I was like, oh, nuts. I don't want that to happen. And so, I am glad that I didn't get that ending, because, but I mean, what a social commentary in and of itself, that I sat there and I was like, oh yeah, he's going to get shot. Whereas how many horror movies have I watched where I'm like, oh, the cops are going to save them. But this one, I'm like, oh, he's dead.
You see the flashing lights, and in any other scenario, it's like, oh, the good guys are here, and here you see those flashing lights, and you're like, uh-oh, he's dead. And it's a surprise when it actually is the good guy, showing up. And I mean, you're right. I mean, just hearing you say that, it is in that way, I think, more effective as well, because by not spelling it out, by not, showing that, typical scenario and letting the audience fill that in their mind, that's just kind of like making the movie's point that this is such a likely scenario that you don't even need to show it, and people will just assume that that's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought the whole thing. What the mark of a really good thriller film like this is like Hitchcock level. I'm going to enjoy going back and rewatching this and looking for the tells that he buried, because I know there are tells, and I'm going to enjoy going back and seeing them. And one of the things that I thought was particularly clever was that was the fact that this family, all of these people there, viewed what they were doing like as this abstract sort of thing. Like they didn't see the very thing that's being commented on there with, the selection of black people to become basically their servants and their, look what they did to Grandma. They take Grandma and they literally make her the maid. And it's like, it's this weird sort of thing where they don't even relate to their grandmother as their grandmother anymore because of her skin and her body. Like, it's so wild. Like, that's it, and it's so they're not even aware of it. And Grandpa's the groundskeeper. It's so weird how well that works.
And that's the thing about it, which is like, I think it was, I forget who it was. It might have been like the guy who directed. Oh, it might have been Rian Johnson actually, who said that one of the kind of like brilliant things about this movie is that like if Bradley Whitford's character like went to a movie theater to watch Get Out, he would have loved it.
Yeah, that's true. That's an astute observation. You're absolutely right.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Speaking of Bradley Whitford, there was a thing that I thought of, and maybe I thought of it because I was watching / wrapping up Star Trek Discovery while, I watched Get Out. And there are hints in the procedure for the coagula that really made me think of Vok and Ash Tyler from Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Where it's like the two psyches laid on top of each other, but one is killed in favor of the other's dominance.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I mean, I guess I haven't watched Get Out since watching Discovery, so I hadn't really put that together. But now that you say that, I can definitely see the similarities there for sure.
Do you think that was intentional?
No, I think it's just a coincidence, right?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
no, I don't mean as thievery or even trying to do it on the sly. But I was wondering if you thought maybe they did it as an homage, a callback, or something.
No, I mean, if you look at the timeline of when this came out versus when Discovery, Discovery was in development for a long time before Get Out was released. Probably a year before, right? So
yeah,
I think that's just a coincidence more than anything. That's just my guess. But
okay, no, I mean that's fair enough. I mean, and the thing is I think more and more about the coagula, and I'm sitting here saying, oh, it's not really a horror movie with a different ending. I'm like, well, no, that's pretty hardcore horror. And I loved even the little touch that they had that in the surgery room they had candles. Because it was a flashback to me. I'd love to find out if this is intentional or not. But did you ever see Halloween 666, The Curse of Michael Myers?
No.
Boy, did you miss out. There is a scene in an operating room where they're doing their dark rituals, and there's these candles set up inside an operating room and everything like that. Now, just as a quick note, Halloween 6's producer's cut is actually superior to the theatrical cut. It's very intriguing. It's very weird.
Okay,
because it's actually called the producer's cut.
Because I've seen 1, 2, and then I skipped over until H2O.
Not a
and
bad
then
call.
I saw the Resurrection, right?
Ugh,
the 8th one,
Uh-huh.
and then I saw the 2 Rob Zombie movies.
Yeah.
So I've missed 3, 4, 5, and 6.
I wouldn't say missed, Mike.
I don't know. I mean, 3 sounds fascinating. I mean,
see, it's interesting because the thing is, horror films in general, I think, have been given too much weight. I think almost as a dodge, in all honesty, to forgive their bloodlust and their gore and stuff like that. They've always tried. Not always, but a lot of horror movies, they try to go back and say, oh, well, we were making a social commentary. And it's I look at Get Out, and I'm like, no, this is making a social commentary.
Yeah.
You guys were not making a social, there's been so much going back and re-examining the horror genre in general. Of course, and I think probably Scream both, epitomizes it and kicks it off. Of that sort of postmodern deconstruction and everything. But Get Out, what was most fascinating about it to me as a horror fan is I see it as, and we were talking about Quentin Tarantino recently, his movies, and I'm trying to remember what it Inglourious Bastards. What I said about that I would apply to Get Out as well, is that this is the type of movie that 14-year-old John sitting in the movie theater was seeing when he was seeing the schlocky horror movie. This is what was in my head, and this is when I was walking. I was like, oh, you got to see this. But it was, the little kid saw a movie of that scope and scale and impact. But adult John gets to look at this and say, yeah, that captures what the kid me thought he was watching. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It definitely, I mean, there have been a few horror movies in the past few years, which I think have been, absolute standouts. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I know that there are a lot of people who see every single horror movie and they really, sort of like embrace the genre. And I've never really done that. I mean, I do see a lot of horror movies just because I see a lot of movies, but I've never been someone who's seen like everything and who's fallen in love with everything. I mean, like recently, like The Conjuring, has gotten like a really big following and stuff. And I thought that was kind of weak, things like that. It takes a lot for a horror movie to sort of elevate itself to Get Out level. I think the last movie that really did it was another Bradley Whitford movie, actually, Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That movie I thought was amazing.
Yeah, no, I really liked Cabin in the Woods, except I didn't care for the very ending of it.
No? Oh,
no.
I thought it was good.
I don't like the overly bleak thing. I don't have any trouble saying I like the hero getting away in the end. I like the last minute escape. I'm a fan of it.
I mean, that's fine, but I think with Cabin in the Woods, it's a unique case in a sense where it's sort of all about escalation. So then when the ending occurs, it's like, whoa. I mean, especially for a movie titled Cabin in the Woods. I remember It was a big thing back when it came out where people were like, don't watch the trailers, don't do anything, just go see the movie. And I didn't. I very intentionally did not watch any of the trailers or whatever. I just went into it completely blind, and I was blown away by it because there is so much more to it than the title suggests. And I think it's brilliant. For those people who haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix right now. So definitely check it out.
Well worth the watch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's the question then. With Get Out, with Cabin in the Woods, those are two sterling examples of what the horror genre can do, even when it's being... Because, when you go postmodern with something, the material gets very much in danger of eating itself, right? And becoming too self-aware. So we have coming up Halloween, the real Halloween 3. They're scrubbing everything clean after Halloween 2. And they're coming back, and Carpenter has a hand in it, all of that stuff. I'm almost kind of terrified of what happens with that one. Because do they ruin the wave here? Do you think that there is a wave that can be ruined with sort of the horror renaissance? Does Get Out help elevate the genre back to what it should be as opposed to what Saw turned it into?
I mean, I guess I've never really sort of gone into that sort of the genre is ruined thing, because to me, I mean, yeah, certainly there are trends, and there are movies which are just going to rip off Saw because Saw is really successful or whatever. But I mean, I think Halloween probably has more in common with Get Out than anything. I mean, when you think about it, it's like a critically acclaimed comedic director who's also made a bunch of art house movies coming in to do a straight up horror movie along with all these original people. He's being true to the source material and everything like that. I mean, it seems like it's a good fit for this kind of prestige horror, which, I think Get Out and Cabin in the Woods fall into. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it going to be good or bad? I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be good, but if it's not, I don't know. I don't know if that really changes anything,
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't kill the genre as a whole, but what I'm always hoping with a good horror movie, what I pinned hopes to with Scream, even though I had some problems with Scream, my hope was always, this is going to bring it up. This is going to make people elevate their game. And with Cabin in the Woods, I was like, this is the one. This is the one that's going to make them up their game. I'm just hoping Get Out is the one where somebody finally says, yeah, okay, we can do that. And I just, if they're going to imitate anything, I'd rather have them imitate Get Out than most of the other stuff that's, how many possession movies can you have?
And maybe that's what's happening, you know? I mean, I don't know. I think maybe like sort of, and this is, I think, probably true for any genre, you know, the ones that stand out as being sort of like the best of the genre are the ones that sort of operate on the fringes of the genre. Like with Get Out, you know, having a lot of commentary, a lot of comedy and a lot of, you know, social commentary in it, you know, that kind of thing. Whereas, you know, I mean, you see that in other things too, whether it's, you know, Shape of Water, you know, I mean, is that a horror movie? I mean, kind of, you know, whatever. And, you know, I mean, hey, you know, we've been talking about Phantom Thread and, you know, is that a romantic comedy? I think it is, you know.
We've had issues with your definition of comedy as it pertains to Paul Thomas Anderson, though.
Okay, well, let's just keep in mind that the main character of the Phantom Thread is named Reynolds Woodcock. Okay.
Yes. And Christopher Nolan's kids have started calling him Woodcock when he's being a jerk.
Yeah, which is pretty great, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the genres, you know. They meld and they bend and they do weird, crazy things, and that's usually when the good stuff happens, you know?
Yeah. You know, I definitely hope they never do a sequel to Get Out. That would be awful.
Oh, he says he wants to.
Really?
Yeah, he says he definitely wants to. He says
really?
He thinks there's a lot more story there, and he wants to get to it. It's not going to be his next movie, but he does want to do a sequel. But
really,
unlike Halloween or something like that, you know, this isn't a case of like the studio saying like, "Get Out successful, let's make another one." Get Out further, you know, whatever. This is, you know, the guy who created it saying like, "There's more to tell to this story." So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one.
No, that's okay, fine.
Because he literally can do anything he wants right now. He just made a Blumhouse movie and got a Best Picture nomination. He can do whatever he wants. So
yeah, that's true. And you got to Blumhouse has got to be just thrilled, just like I mean,
Jason Blum is an Oscar-nominated producer right now.
Wow, that is that really does mess with my head as I think about that. That's crazy.
But it's cool because like he's always been someone who's been like taking chances like that. You know, like he you know has backed Shyamalan lately. You know, with like Split. I think he was the producer on Split.
Well, thank him for that, and thank him for this. Okay.
And also another one that he did just recently, which I have been talking about a lot. I know, but I do highly recommend it. Another great horror movie. Happy Death Day.
Is that really good?
Look, it's not like this is, you know, as good as Get Out or whatever. It's a lot of fun, you know.
Okay.
It really is. It's it's a lot of fun.
Is it? What is it? Is that a PG-13 or is that an R?
It is a PG-13.
Okay.
You know, it is actually something which, I mean, I don't know your kids' tolerance for whatever, but you know,
the 9-year-old. This is what'll mess with your head. The 9-year-old would probably do fine. The 10-year-old would have nightmares for like 3 months.
Okay,
she's a delicate sort. She has a very active imagination. So it's really.
And I mean, it's basically the horror version of Groundhog Day, is what it is. But it's a lot of fun. Written by Scott Lobdell, by the way, the guy who wrote like all of the X-Men comics in the 90s.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
so
that's a big endorsement.
Yeah.
So I can get behind that.
It's better than those X-Men comics, though. So.
All right. So Jordan Peele can do anything he wants, right? After this, he has. I didn't see Keanu, but
it's awesome.
I've heard that it's great, and it's another sort of like deconstruction of, you know, it's stereotypes and tropes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done this, and it's like an action movie essentially, but like a funny one, right?
Keanu?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of think of it. I mean, it's more comedy than you know, Get Out, but I would say like if I were to sort of like put it in the same realm as a movie, I would say it's like 22 Jump Street kind of, you know.
Okay.
But I mean, it's definitely like laugh out loud, hysterical comedy, but the action is also spot on. Like it doesn't, the action totally works on its own.
But
the cat is really, really cute. So.
Yeah, well, of course, cats are awesome. But I think he's in a risky spot right now in terms of critical appreciation and appeal. I think he's in the Jackie Brown spot, let's call it, where the first one, everybody's like, hey, I like this. I like what this guy does. The second one, wow, this is fantastic. Best picture nomination, best screenplay, best director. And then I think we have a potential for a third one that's like a true masterpiece that gets overlooked. Like I think he's very much in that spot where this could go flat for him. How does he keep it from doing that? How does he manage that?
Well, they talk about that. I mean, and to be fair, like he didn't direct Keanu. He co-wrote it with Keegan Michael Key, and then it was directed by Peter Atanasio, or whatever his name is. Okay. So basically, it was the team that did Key and Peele, Okay. So that's kind of like an extension of that. But here, this is like him going off on his own. So really, this is like his first movie where it's all him.
So this is his Reservoir Dogs, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and so we'll see what his next movie is going to be. I mean, it could be great. You never know. But of course, there is that thing that sophomore slump that you see, a lot of times people do. I mean, look, Kevin Smith. I mean, obviously, time has kind of altered that, but he makes Clerks. Everybody loves it. He gets a lot of money. He can do, kind of whatever he wants. He does Mallrats. Everybody hates it. So he goes back to super duper low budget, makes Chasing Amy, and everybody loves it. And then he, finds his footing. But, I mean, like, you hear people talk about that all the time. Like in that Tom Petty documentary, Jimmy Iovine talks about that, in terms of, music, bands and stuff like that. Like they spend 5 years making their first album. Yeah. It's great. Then they spend 5 months making their second album. Everybody hates it. And it's the third album where they're like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. And that's when the masterpiece is. It's the third one. So even if his next movie sucks, which, who's to say it will, that doesn't mean that he's dead,
He's in the Magnolia spot then. No, because Magnolia is number 3 as well.
All of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies are great, He's about to do. He may be about to do Pulp Fiction. Who knows?
Okay.
Or maybe Mallrats. We'll see.
I guess I liked Mallrats.
Mallrats is awesome.
That's. And this is the last time we had Ben Affleck before he had a personal trainer. So it was more relatable back then.
Before he became Batman. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before he became Armageddon.
Yes. Yes.
That was. Thanks a lot, Bruckheimer. So.
Hey, whatever. I really do love Mallrats. I've loved Mallrats since the beginning. I didn't see it in the theater because it was only out for like 2 weeks, and I wasn't old enough. But I rented it from Blockbuster on the very first day and watched it 3 times before returning it, and been in love with it ever since. So.
Yeah, I did have the good fortune of seeing that in the theater. So
really, so it was like you and like one other person.
My pal Joey, who back then, that if I was going to a movie, Joey and me, we were sitting in seats next to each other. It was 100% of the time. Like I struggle to think of a movie between about 1991 forward where Joey was not there, or at the very least seeing it in another theater on the same night.
Yeah.
Or like as what happened with Star Trek Generations. He saw the showing that had started like an hour before. No, I saw the showing that started an hour before. I got out. I was still hanging out with mutual friends, and then he walked out. And I was like, hey, what did you think? And he was like, that kind of sucked. I was like, what are you talking about? I really liked it. He's like, that wasn't very good. Like, he was a pariah back then when he didn't like Generations. So, a prophet, some might say. But, no. I got no problem with
Generations myself, but whatever.
I was just taking a cheap shot. I like Generations well enough too. Except for the data thing. That's just a nightmare.
Oh,
but no.
Like the life forms and this life form song.
Oh. People going to give me hell for liking Jar Jar, and then they're going to like that. No.
Well, that's a cute, one line, joke, not like a whole character.
Really? You don't think that Data's character kind of went down that pathway for quite a bit in Generations?
There was like 2 scenes where he's like trying to be funny, and then there's the life form scene, and then the scene when the ship is crashing, which got a big laugh just because you couldn't say the S word on syndicated television back then.
I think that was the barrier with Generations. That was the first like real curse word they ever used in Star Trek, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess. There were a few colorful metaphors in Star Trek 4, but they were all, TV friendly.
Yeah, dumbass, please. Anybody can say that. We can say that on the Nerd Party Network, which is a place where you can see many terrific shows. See? Here. You can hear them. You can look at their cover art while you listen to them. So,
did you hear that the Sci-Fi Channel is going to start letting people use the F word now?
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's like, well, what would they do on Battlestar Galactica now then? They probably would just use the F word, right? Or would they keep on using frack?
I would hope they would keep using frack. I think.
Well, I mean, at this point, I think they'd keep using it. But like, would they? Like, if it were created today,
I would rather they use frack. I honestly do. It's the South Park principle. When South Park finally got a movie, it wasn't as funny as the show because all limits were removed, and you take away some of the creative impulse because South Park spent a lot of time and energy finding creative ways to say those things without saying them. And they created some really funny situations out of it. And then when they went, bigger, longer, and uncut, they just went off the rails. Like they had no restraint whatsoever. I'm not a fan. I really am not. I mean, like I get that they're trying to compete with with Netflix and everything, but in all honesty, then if I were running the network, I'd say fine, use the F word like on the app or whatever, because there's some modicum of control there, because like a 6-year-old isn't going to be able to, own their phone, or, you're buying it for them, and any responsible parent, I think, would know what's on the kid's phone and have restrictions turned on, but hey. But like on broadcast, I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it. I know. I'm old school like that. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Just not a fan, man. Not a fan.
I don't give an F.
You don't give a care. But what you do care about, once again, is the Nerd Party Network, which is the home to many shows, including we have a Doctor Who show now. We have Aggressive Negotiations. We have Nerd Nuptial. We have Filibuster. We have Missing Frames. You name it, we got just about everything to cater to you. But I've had a blast talking about Get Out. I think that this is one of those rare instances where, a movie has lived up to the hype that was delivered, before I saw it. So I loved it. I know you loved it. I've had a lot of fun talking about it. If people want to talk to you about Get Out, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Mumbles3K.
Yeah, and you can find me, Castle Junkie, and here on the network, I'm on Aggressive Negotiations, and fiddling around with my pal Craig on Words with Nerds. So, with all of that said, thank you for joining us on Great Shot Kid, and we will see you next time.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.